Good day, everyone. I am Mr. Giancarlo Sanfuego, welcoming you to HALINA'T MATH-TUTO sa Dasmariñas North National High School TV. Today, we will continue to prove theorems related to chords, arcs, central angles, and inscribed angles. So without further ado, let's jump right straight to it. Theorem number 5. If an angle is inscribed in a circle, then the measure of the angle is equal to 1/2 the measure of its intercepted arc. Or, the measure of the intercepted arc is twice the measure of its inscribed angle. In the figure on the right, angle ABC is an inscribed angle and arc AC is its intercepted arc. Then, theorem number 5 states that the measure of the angle is equal to 1/2 the measure of its intercepted arc, or the measure of the intercepted arc is twice the measure of the inscribed angle. Now let's try it with this example. If the measure of arc AC is equal to 120 degrees, what is the measure of angle ABC? To find the measure of angle ABC, we are going to use this formula and substitute the value of intercepted arc. By simplifying, we will get 60 degrees. Now let's proceed to theorem number 6. If two inscribed angles of a circle or congruent circles intercept congruent arcs or the same arc, then the angles are congruent. In figure number 1, angle ABD and angle ACD intercept arc AD. Since angle ABD and angle ACD intercept the same arc, then the two angles are congruent. Now let's try to answer this example. Find the measure of angle ABD and the measure of angle ACD. Let's find first the measure of angle ABD. By applying theorem number 5, we can say that the measure of angle ABD is equal to 1/2 times the arc AD. Substitute the value of the arc AD and then simplify. 124 degrees divided 2, we have 62 degrees. Now let's find the other, the measure of angle ACD. Apply the theorem number 5 to find the measure of angle ACD, which is equal to 1/2 times arc AD. Substitute the value of arc AD and then simplify. Therefore, we have 62 degrees. Proceeding in figure number 2, angle UZV and angle WYX intercept arcs UV and WX respectively. If arc UV are congruent to arc WX, then angle UZV is also congruent to angle WYX. Now let's try it with this example. If the measure of angle UZV are congruent to the measure of angle WYX, what is the measure of arc WX if the measure of angle UZV is equal to 32 degrees? To find arc WX, it is equal to 2 times the measure of angle WYX. But as you can see, the measure of angle WYX is unknown. But since the measure of angle UZV is equal to the measure of angle WYX, therefore, we can substitute 32 to the measure of angle WYX. By simplifying, we will have arc WX equals 64 degrees. Now let's proceed to theorem number 7. If an inscribed angle of a circle intercepts a semicircle, then the angle is a right angle. In the figure, angle SPT intercepts arc SRT. If arc SRT is a semicircle, then angle SPT is a right angle. Now let's try to answer this example. If angle SPT is a right angle, what is the measure of arc SRT? Actually, we can determine the value of arc SRT without even doing anything, because right angle means 90 degrees and semicircle means 180 degrees. But let's try to solve it by applying theorem number 5. That would give us arc SRT equals 2 times the measure of angle SPT. Substitute the value of angle SPT, which is 90 degrees, and then simplify. We will have 180 degrees. Now let's proceed to the last theorem, which is theorem number 8. If a quadrilateral is inscribed in a circle, then its opposite angles are supplementary. But what is a supplementary angles? Supplementary angles are two angles with the sum of 180 degrees. Suppose a quadrilateral MAHT is inscribed in a circle O. Therefore, the measure of angle MTH plus the measure of angle MAH is equal to 180 degrees. And also, the measure of angle TMA and the measure of angle THA is also 180 degrees. Now let's try to answer this sample problem. Quadrilateral MAHT is inscribed in a circle O. If the measure of angle TMA is equal to 75 degrees and the measure of angle MAH is equal to 98 degrees, find its opposite angles. Let's find first the measure of angle THA. Since the measure of angle TMA plus the measure of angle THA is equal to 180 degrees, substitute the value of angle TMA, that would give us 75 degrees plus the measure of angle THA is equal to 180 degrees. By subtraction property of equality, it will give us the measure of angle THA is equal to 180 degrees minus 75. Simplify, we'll have 105 degrees. Next, find the measure of angle MTH. Since the measure of angle MAH is the opposite of the measure of angle MTH, the measure of angle MTH plus the measure of angle MAH is equal to 180 degrees. Substitute the value of the angle MAH. Then, use subtraction property of equality. We will have the measure of angle MTH equals 180 degrees minus 98 degrees. Simplify to find the measure of angle MTH, which is equal to 82 degrees. Now, to test our understanding, let's try to answer this activity entitled Find My Degree Measure. In circle O, the measure of angle JOU is equal to 55 degrees, the measure of angle ION is equal to 40 degrees, and angle ROI is a right angle. Find the following measure of an angle or an arc. Number 1, the measure of angle UON. Since line JOI is a diameter, we can say that the measure of angle JOU plus the measure of angle UON plus the measure of angle ION is equal to 180 degrees. Substitute the given values and then simplify. 55 degrees plus the measure of angle UON plus 40 equals 180 degrees. Use subtraction property of equality, we have 180 degrees minus 55 degrees minus 40 degrees. Simplify, we'll have the measure of angle UON equals 85 degrees. Next, number 2, the measure of angle JOR. Line JOI as a diameter helps us say that the measure of angle JOR plus the measure of angle ROI is equal to 180 degrees. And since the angle ROI is a right angle, substitute its value and then simplify. The measure of angle JOR plus 90 degrees equals 180 degrees. Use subtraction property of equality, we have 180 degrees minus 90 degrees. Simplify, therefore, the measure of angle JOR is equal to 90 degrees. Next, number 3, the measure of angle ROS. Line UOS is also a diameter, which helps us say that the measure of angle JOU plus the measure of angle JOR plus the measure of angle ROS is equal to 180 degrees. Since we have the measure of angle JOU and the angle JOR, let's substitute the given value and simplify. Use subtraction property of equality, we have 180 degrees minus 55 degrees minus 90 degrees. And then, simplify, we have the measure of angle ROS is equal to 35 degrees. Next, number 4, the measure of angle SOI. The measure of angle JOR plus the measure of angle ROS plus the measure of angle SOI is equal to 180 degrees because line JOI is a diameter. Now, substitute the value of angle JOR and angle ROS and then simplify. Use subtraction property of equality, we have 180 degrees minus 90 degrees minus 35 degrees. And then simplify, we have the measure of angle SOI equals 55 degrees. Next, number 5, the measure of angle JOS. Since the measure of angle JOS is composed of the measure of angle JOR and the measure of angle ROS, therefore, the measure of angle JOS is equal to 90 degrees plus 35 degrees. Simplify, so the measure of angle JOS is equal to 125 degrees. Now, to answer numbers 6 to 10, remember that the measure of central angle is equal to the measure of its intercepted arc. Therefore, to find the values, just look at the central angles of each intercepted arcs. Number 6, the measure of arc UN. Since the measure of angle UON is equal to 85 degrees, then the measure of arc UN is equal to 85 degrees. Next, number 7, the measure of arc SI. Since the measure of angle SOI is equal to 55 degrees, then the measure of arc SI is also equal to 55 degrees. Next, number 8, measure of arc UI. Since the measure of arc UOI is equal to 125 degrees, then the measure of arc UI is equal to 125 degrees. Number 9, the measure of arc UR. And again, since the measure of angle UOR is equal to 145 degrees, Therefore, our QR is equal to 145 degrees. And lastly, the measure of arc JS. Since the measure of angle JOS is equal to 125 degrees, the measure of arc JS will be 125 degrees. And we're done. Thank you very much for watching this video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and be updated in HALINA'T MATH-TUTO sa Dasmariñas North National High School TV. Thank you!